Hey, I just wanted to give you this review of this incredible company called Namaste. Um, Now, I found this site here, Namaste Technologies. I'll go over the article shortly, but this article by Azal Khan, will this company become the Amazon of cannabis? Now, in this video here that you can click on, he discusses how Australia is one of the biggest suppliers from Canada of vapors. So whilst people in Australia are one of the biggest buyers from this company, their main purchases are for their uh, therapeutic approaches and using therapeutic oils. Their Facebook is here, very popular site, Namaste Technologies. So let's read about them. And the video really explains it well, but it took just 3 years for Namaste Technologies to be valued at $1 billion, and the company has now reached Australia's shores. Canadian founder Sean Dollinger created the largest online marketplace for cannabis accessories with the aim to be the Amazon of cannabis. The business started as a side project in Dollinger's garage, selling vaporizers and marijuana smoking accessories, and is now what he calls the Everything Cannabis store. While much of Namaste's core business has remained in the international sales of vaporizers and accessories, the business has made a considered push recently to start retailing marijuana itself, with Australia set to be the key player. He says in Australia they have started allowing it in for medical purposes. A lot of people don't realise how many companies are now growing cannabis in Australia, and I've covered that in my other videos. Namaste is working on importing cannabis from Australia into Canada for it to be resold. And in my previous videos, saying Greg Hunt, the minister, has basically setting the foundation for Wall Street investors to do it the other way around, set up the industry to be one of the biggest exporters throughout Asia into Canada. So it's still not legal, but the foundation for money and incentive to invest is there. It's a little wonder the one-stop shop for cannabis products is interested in leveraging the Australian market given the huge clientele. But in Australia, for example, where cannabis isn't legal yet on the recreational side, it's still our largest market for vaporizers and accessories around the world. Australia is the largest market by well over 100% over in any other country, Dollinger said. So think about it. Australia is, on the recreational side, one of their largest markets for vaporizers and accessories around the world. Australians are buying the vaporizers for a range of purposes. We market them for aromatherapy purposes. People can use them for chamomile, dandelion root, peppermint. There's a bunch of different products that you can use on these. Dollinger believes Namaste is well positioned to take advantage of the growth in the medicinal cannabis market in Australia, and hopes Australia will soon soften its attitude towards legislation and medicinal cannabis use. 4 years ago, when I started the business, I didn't know the benefits. I thought people use cannabis just to get high. In 4 years, I've seen how it's changed people's lives. I think that's what's going to lead to the acceleration for the product to be accepted in countries where right now there's red tape. Now, Namaste uses an artificial intelligence to create unique shopping experience for their customers by showing them what they really want. So there is an app, it's called CanMart, and I'll get to it shortly, but you'll have to register. I'm not sure if it's Canadian, but you can register because Australians are the biggest buyers, but it has a shopping mall of all sorts of vaporizers. So click on the link below and you'll get access to it. If you know somebody right now is buying a premium vaporizer, when we start introducing cannabis in the market, why should we show that customer inexpensive product or a different type of product? So the video up the top here is a video that basically, from this article, yourmoney.com.au, is a very good interview. But you can click on the article. So,
early on, and when we started this business, we thought it would just be a side business from my garage, just selling vaporizers and accessories. And here we are 4 years later, and we're known as your everything cannabis store. So if people purposes, and a lot of people don't realize how many companies are now growing cannabis in Australia, and Namaste is working on importing cannabis from Australia into Canada for it to be resold.
So now this has been going incredibly well. 4 years, $1 billion valuation, which is a lot of money. So how did you celebrate when you became a $1 billion business?
Yeah, that's a good question. It kind of sneaks up on you. You know, you keep your head down. Our goal is to.
So in the Courier Mail, January the 26th, article here by Andrea McLeod, City North News, Brisbane's part of the future Namaste Cannabis Empire. So he was here. Sean Dollinger, the CEO, was in Brisbane this week to talk about the next steps for his $1 billion e-commerce cannabis platform. So that was just right here in Brisbane. And if Canadian entrepreneur Sean Dollinger has his way, Australia will soon be infusing their food with cannabis oil. And not just food, it would seem their cannabis opportunity around every corner. Whatever you think of it, whether it's pocket-sized powerhouse vaporizers for subtle vapes and perfect flavors, seeds, fertilizers or creams and oils, the CEO of Namaste Technologies has the market covered. That was covered in the other article. You'll find the link below, where this article by Azil Khan is, will this company become the Amazon of cannabis? Now back to the article here. Whatever you think of whether it is, in Brisbane this week we meet up with Sean Dollinger, and Australia will not be far behind North America innovation boom, cannabis supply, production and education of users. Namaste Technologies, which has more than 30 websites in 20 countries, making it the largest e-commerce cannabis platform, supplies thousands of products via the online operations of Australia, the leading market for vaporizers. There we are. Currently only vaporizers are legal in Australia. So that's an important point. When we started Namaste, we thought it would be the cybers where we would sell 2 or 3 vaporizers a day, but then it became hundreds, which became thousands. Now we sit at a 500 million value, and we're known as your everything cannabis store. If someone is looking for vaporizers, cannabis, cannabidiol, CBD, we want to be their one-stop shop. If someone is looking for vaporizers, cannabis, obviously in Australia at the moment, there is an important moment. There's some challenges on cannabis on the CBD side of things, so we are solely focused on vaporizers. Mr. Dollinger said the vaporizers could be used for aromatherapy purposes as well as cannabis. Any herb that can help you, chamomile for your digestive system, peppermint, dandelion, there's endless amounts of products. At the moment only vaporizers are legal, but the way I see it in Australia is where Canada was a few years ago, before it was legalized last year. With a firm belief that whenever somebody can ever reaches for cannabis, it could be tied to a medical reason. Mr. Dollinger said the opportunity to educate and explore the potential uses of cannabis in the Australian market was exciting. We have teamed up with Pete Evans, celebrity chef. We are exploring how we can introduce CBD education for people and to be able to do that globally, Mr. Dollinger said. So many people think about consuming cannabis that it should be in a chocolate brownie or cookie, but nobody ever speaks about how I can infuse a tomato sauce with CBD or putting it in olive oil and using it as a spread. So we really want to talk about incorporating it in your daily life. Mr. Dollinger said at the end of the day, users are using it, so why not educate people about it? Long term, he said, once cannabis was legalized in Australia, the opportunity for individual business opportunities was enormous. From homegrown potential to creating oils, soaps and creams, as well as being able to legally purchase thousands of products online, Mr. Dollinger said the company viewed itself as being able to create great experiences for users as well as taking a key education role. I've seen the wonders of it, cannabis. I've used creams. I've seen it work for me. So for me, it is important that we give people the experience and education. Potential users, mitigating side effects of chemotherapy, managing chronic pain, improving appetite for people with HIV, and managing anxiety and depression. A1 Technologies, machine learning platforms, strain specific products, e-medicine platform, Namaste MD. So I went to Google where I was seeking information. How I found that article here. So it talks about how Sean built a $1 million company. So I'll click on that one and see where that goes. Sorry for that. That's another article I'll put down in below. How Sean Dollinger built a $1 billion business in 3 years in a quest to become the Amazon of cannabis. So that was in September last year, and that was an Australian smartcompany.com.au article, and you can read that at your own leisure. He writes here, it is a $1 billion soon to be NASDAQ listed online vaporized and cannabis retail. For many Australians, the concept of legalized or even semi-legalized cannabis is entirely foreign, meaning the vast majority of Dollinger's business will be to vaporizers, or vapes as they are usually known, aren't exactly usually widely either, with various legal barriers existing in some states which prevent the free use of vapes in public spaces. For those out of the loop, here's the rundown. Canadian entrepreneur Dollinger founded Namaste Technologies in 2014, starting out as an online retailer focused on selling vaporizers and associated vape accoutrements. Vaporizers are widely used in Australia as an alternative to smoking cigarettes, with the device vaporizing liquid nicotine to give smokers their hit. Vapors can also be used without nicotine oil, sometimes just with pleasant tasting vape juice, or more commonly cannabis oil, in countries where recreational medicinal cannabis use is legalized. So he covers 4 years ago I was traveling in Israel, and a retailer there was speaking to me about rolling papers and the success he was having selling those. Fast forward about 4 weeks later, I was with my father in Laguna Beach, and he showed me a vaporizer. At this point, 14 years of e-commerce experience clicked, and I started a side business selling vaporizers online. We very quickly went from a couple of hundred to a few thousand kinds of vaporizers. Just a quick review of this fantastic company, Namaste. Keep an eye on it, and click on below for the links that I've shared with you. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your day. hempgoldcoast.com, Australia view on cannabis, and if you're interested in my free ebook, the ultimate guide to CBD oil, just click on below. Thanks for watching. Enjoy.